Coach Joe White, how you doing this afternoon?
Well, I'm doing good. I'm still trying to get over last Sunday.
Yeah, no, I
But
get that. I get that. I
uh,
gotta play the music. Sorry. There we go. There we go. We got music now for the intro. Sorry, I'm new at this.
you're good.
Brand new. So here's my good question to start. You ready for a Browns versus Lions Super Bowl?
Yeah,
That's where we're headed right now.
yeah. I guess we are. They both won, huh? They both won against good teams too.
Right?
That's a little scary to think about.
Yes. And then, so also, Coach, just a reminder for you as well. I don't. Have you checked on your CU friends to make sure they're okay? Did you do a wellness check on them? They're probably taking a 2-week binger.
Yeah, the CU people they're doing well right now. It's actually a lot of fun to watch. I'm kind of enjoying it. It's been fun.
Oh yeah, no, they're great. Sorry, I'm also trying to. We have a guest coming on, and I'm making sure they get the link to come onto our show. The surprise guest. We haven't really promoted it, but there he is. There he is. We'll bring him on here in just a second. I see you, Coach. So, questions we have for Broncos country is: how much coffee are you drinking? According to a psych post. A study showing drinking 1 to 3 cups of coffee per day lowers your risk of depression and anxiety. How big of cups of coffee are you drinking, Coach Joe?
I'm not drinking any. I have never drank a cup of coffee in my life.
You're missing
to be
out.
honest with you. Yeah, I've never acquired the taste. I don't like the taste, and I never acquired the taste. So I don't need to bother going to Starbucks every morning and buying a cup of coffee. So
I just get the cheap stuff from put it in the whatever thing myself and take care of it. So things we want to talk about today. Kicking, Coach, you were right about that. Losing single score games. Were there any dudes in game one? Coaching, Vance Joseph, is the D his fault? More coaching, Sean Payton. Do we still trust him? Does the blame land on Russell Wilson? We only had 6 offensive possessions. And my new favorite time of the week, Coach, is prime time.
Prime time.
Today we're talking all things Colorado sports and Denver sports, and we're kicking it with Coach Joe. We lost by 1. The Broncos lost by 1 to the Raiders, Coach, with 4 points left on the board by kicking. It's not broke. Don't fix it.
That's right. I told you that the first show we had. The very first show we had, I said that. We never should have gotten rid of him.
Is this your first knock on Sean Payton now as a coach?
I don't like
or your first demerit? Are you marking?
Yeah, I guess so, because I didn't like it when it happened. I don't like it even more now. And kickers aren't a dime a dozen. You know, to have a kicker like we had for so many years, a Super Bowl winning kicker, and to just let him go for nothing and then spend a draft pick to bring another kicker in is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I'm just going to be honest with you.
You were a teacher for like decades, and this is the stupidest thing you've
seen.
I'm sure there were dumber things you've seen.
I'm just like, what are we doing?
You know who can show us some dumber things? We'll got him on here in just a minute. But Coach Pete DeRuda, founding partner with Capital Financial, I bet he can tell us some dumber things he's seeing out there in the world and changing kickers, open up the can of kickers. So overall, though, with the Broncos, is this because the Raiders did leave points on the board. They were driving at the end of the game. They could have scored there. They had other opportunities. I'm not going to blame it all on the kicker. I think it's like the fourth quarter matters the most, but we weren't in a position in the fourth quarter to win the game. So I'm not going to wait all that and go, if this would have happened, we would have won. It's like, if you miss a basketball shot in the first quarter and you lose by a bucket, did that shot make you lose the game? No, it would have changed the course of the game. Other decisions would have been made. It's like going back in time with them. It's like in Back to the Future 2 or 3. It's like, if you change the past, how much of the future is going to be changed, right?
Yeah, but little things in a game add up.
Oh, I'm not arguing that.
Right.
But like to say it's the kicker's fault. Like if we would have tied the game, if we would have gone up, all of a sudden the Raiders would have played differently. Josh McDaniels would have had a different plan.
Oh yeah, Josh McDaniels, he's the man.
Hey, you know what? He's beating the Broncos.
No, I don't want to talk about it.
By the way, I tell you,
I'm just telling you, we should have been head by 4 with the last drive, force them to have to score a touchdown. Maybe we hold them out from scoring a touchdown. It changes the complexity of the game. It changes the confidence in your team. When you drive down, you have a chance to score points. When you drive down, you score a touchdown and your kicker misses the extra point. It's just demoralizing. It's not good. I'm not blaming it all on the kicker because we couldn't get off the field on third downs. We had no pass rush. I could go on and on.
So, like Will Lutz, did you put him on a PIP this week? Is he on like a performance improvement plan? Like, hey,
yes,
Will,
of course he is.
Hey, Will, we're going to send you to the HR department. They're going to put you on a PIP.
Yeah, because here's the deal. He's an NFL kicker, and he's a veteran NFL kicker. Make the kick. That's all I can say. If you can't make an extra point, you miss an extra point, that changes the tone of the game. And 55-yard field goal in Denver, You know what
the percentage is on that? I looked it up.
In Denver.
I don't care where. There's larger numbers than that. Like I don't care where. It's about a 60 to 70% chance. Closer to, I think, like low 70s, maybe upper 60s. I don't have the stats right in front of me.
I wonder what McManus's percentages were.
Well, if you count last year, he had a pretty bad year.
He had one bad kind of off year. I wouldn't say he had a bad year.
And you're not willing to give Lutz the great. How funny of a name is Lutz? It's like, what's that? Was that from? Here, I know someone who's going to know that answer. Coach Pete DeRuda.
What's up, Robbie?
Host of the Financial Safari. Say hi to Coach Joe White.
What's up,
Coach Pete? How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Rainy day in Vegas, Rob. Rainy day in Vegas. Over again. Rainy day in Vegas.
That doesn't happen too often out there, but you probably need it. Wasn't Lutz a character in Office? Was it Office Space?
About what?
Lutz was Lutz the boss? Who's Isn't there like I thought that was like
that? It wasn't. That was Lumpkin or something like that.
That right.
Yeah,
that's right. So, Coach Pete, he hosted the national radio show Financial Safari.
There you go.
And then he also lives in Vegas. We do the show backwards. We let people come on afterwards and gloat instead of come on early in the day.
Well, I have an office in Vegas. I live most of the time in North Carolina, as you know, and I'm a New England guy. So I was born in Delaware, but my parents are New England Patriot fans. They were born in Boston. So as a Patriot fan, I know I'm very familiar with winning in football and also losing in football because I've been a fan when they lost and a fan when they won. Vegas has been getting excited. Vegas really rocked when the hockey team did as good as they did.
Oh, yeah.
And you want to talk about the game the other day. Garoppolo has always been he couldn't replace Tom Brady, put it that way. He's moved around a little bit. The winner on the Vegas team, and you need a good winner on the team. The guys that without Brady, the Patriots are nothing, as we've seen. But Adams, number 17, is the winner in Vegas. I mean, yeah. I'd build any team around him, and we'd win in a couple of years.
Yeah, he's special.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Coach, are Raider fans around you right now? Because you're surrounded by them, I'm sure. Maybe you probably got the button with a wallet with a button on it to protect it as you walk around with a Raider fan around you. But are they talking like, "Hey, we're good," or was it a bad team beating a bad team?
They're not really. I haven't heard much at all, to be honest with you, Rob. They're not really, because they know over the years they get too excited very fast, and then the rug gets pulled out. That's why they don't have Carr anymore. They got mad at Derek Carr. I think he's on the Saints now.
Yep. And
they blamed him for all the losses back in the day. We'll have to see what happens when Garoppolo gets hurt. Usually about 2 or 3 games in, Garoppolo's playing all the time. We got Mr. Softies all over the place these days in the NFL. I grew up watching 1970s Steelers play, and Rocky Blyer's a buddy of mine. We used to do a radio show. He played with half his toe gone and won. You guys know they got a little ache in the foot or a leg, or maybe they have an upset stomach and they don't play for a couple weeks. It's crazy these days.
So it's in Vegas out there, do they have it like in one of the sports book, the over-under until Garoppolo's injured?
Well, no, but they probably do, Rob. I don't really spend much time at casinos. I've learned my lesson 5 times in my life.
That's funny. So the other thing I know you for, Coach, is you're a phenomenal marketer. You know how to market, your business. And there's a phenomenal marketer that just moved into Colorado a few months ago, in Coach Prime. what do you see the similarities? Like, what are you seeing in how he's doing things and like why how he's creating a successful business football organization there?
Do you think I ever would have sat down and watched a whole Colorado versus Texas Tech game in my life? But I watched that whole game. It was exciting. He's bringing excitement to the college scene, and a lot of the coaches there, a lot of the other coaches are getting kind of jealous and then getting kind of worried too. He's going to get any kind of recruit he wants going forward, and I don't think he'll be at Colorado long. I think it'll be just a couple of years. He'll be in the NFL.
Watch your mouth. Watch it. Watch it. We're gonna you know what after 2 games, you know what they're already talking about around here?
What's that?
Like, how do you sign up Coach Prime for a lifetime contract?
I don't think it'll happen. I think, and that's not Deion's. That's Coach Prime. That's not his modus operandi. He likes to go new places and build excitement. And his son is going to basically write his own paycheck coming up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
By the way, Rob, he's going to be the number 1 pick this year unless something happens. Coming out of college, and guess who should have had that number 1 pick, the number 1 overall pick?
Are you talking about your Raiders?
No, I'm talking about the Carolina Panthers. They traded away. They traded away what's going to be the number 1 pick this year for the number 1 pick last year, and a whole bunch of other picks they threw around, and the best receiver to get a quarterback who has to stand on his tiptoes to be 5. They got pictures of him standing on his tiptoes during the game and he's throwing off his tiptoes. He's not planting his feet. Coach, that's not the proper form to throw anywhere. Not even.
He's going to have to figure that out. That's what I was worried about when they drafted him. To be honest with you, he's a good player. He's very smart and everything else. I just don't know if his size can carry him.
If he gets hit a couple times, we'll learn the other way how long he turns into Mr. Softy too. With big contracts, it's hard to play. I mean, if I'm a player and I've got millions of dollars, multi-millions of dollars coming to me guaranteed, what's the incentive for me to get any better?
Yeah, Shador's already making. What's he making? Like 1.52 million in the NIL money up at CU right now. So yeah. I mean, he's raking it in. He's going to rake it in more next year, probably.
Well, the NIL stuff changes the whole scene in the college game.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
Yeah. Here's what I love about NIL. Now you have Shador Sanders in Colorado. I don't know what he's making. I'm going to assume you're right there with around like say that $1 to $2 million. Now it's not anything like the NFL bag he can go get, but guess what? It might go. Yeah, you know what? I'll hang out another year, or like because he maybe goes, oh, it's Houston's got the number 1 pick again. I've seen what they've done to quarterbacks. I don't want to go there. I'll hang out in Colorado for another year.
That's what Caleb Williams at USC is already saying that. He's making like 3 or 4 this year in NIL.
Why leave? I mean, you're the big fish in the little pond. When I went to UNC, University of North Carolina, back in the 80s, and $20, we'd have a real fun time out all night long. We imagine going out with a bank card that says like $100,000 limit on it.
Yeah.
Not only that, he probably doesn't have to pay for a drink anywhere in LA out there. But if anyone recognizes, it's like he probably doesn't. It's did you watch the Swamp Kings documentary on Netflix when they're talking about with Florida Gators when Urban Meyer was there?
I didn't see that one.
Oh, they were talking about how they went out and they were more popular than the professional athletes. Similar to like when Miami was popular.
Big fish in little pond. I know you're a Dolphin fan, Rob. Don't try to hide behind the fact you're in Denver now. I'm a huge. I've been a Dolphin fan. It's just like it's the suffering since Dan Marino left. Now it's kind of like what you're saying with Raider fans. Like, oh, there's a little bit of hope. We have hope. They always ref my Patriots up. I did go in the casino the other day. I put 300 on Miami. That's their 2-point favorites in New England, but I still think Miami will beat them that bad.
Oh, see, you picked with your brain instead of your heart. That's tough for me to do.
Well, I call it buying a victory because if New England wins, I'm happy, even though I'm out 300.
Did you guys see that somebody bet $1 million on CU over Nebraska the other day?
Ooh, that's a nice bet.
They won.
They covered.
Yeah.
They won.
Yeah, no, that was one of we had family and my in-laws are from Nebraska, and so they had, it's probably 9:00 in the morning for football for you out there, Coach. For us it's 10:00 out here in Colorado for the noon kickoffs out east. It's kind of nice when you kind of wake up, make a big breakfast, have people over, watch the game, and then they're out of your house by about 1:00. They're like, oh.
Even the nighttime game's over, and you still have stuff to do at night. It's
right.
It is. I don't mind the early games. I like them better than the late games, to be honest with you.
So, coaches, one thing I want to throw at you is like, as we look at the Broncos here, is like in week 1, are we over exaggerating the importance of week 1? Does week 1 NFL football really matter in a 17-game season.
If
Well,
you miss the playoffs by a game, it does.
Yeah, but to me, week one is really the first game of exhibition because they're not even playing the starters in exhibition anymore. So
Wow.
I think if I'm a Bronco fan, I'm happy because we got one of the best coaches ever, and he'll have I think he'll have a really good impact on Russell Wilson, which people are still waiting to see that. But I think he'll have a really good impact. He's got a winning philosophy, and that's what's needed compared to what was there last year, from what I hear.
Oh yeah, no, and I think people I think they got the right captain at the ship, and it's not like Colorado with primetime where he can overhaul a roster in a year with the transfer portal. If the NFL had a transfer portal, I'm sure there'd be a lot more guys lining up to go play with Sean Payton. Coach, another thing I want to ask you about is
which coach?
Yeah, I should clarify that. I got two coaches here. The first kick of the game, the Broncos and the Raiders, Sean Payton decides to go for the onside kick. We'll start with Coach Pete. What are your thoughts on the going for it on the onside kick to start the game?
I immediately thought that's Sean Payton, and if the kicker didn't touch the ball like one fraction of a second too soon, they would have pulled it off too. So I'm pretty sure they probably practiced that more this week. It was a great kick. I mean, it was a great strategy. I'm surprised they didn't do it again right the next play.
No, that would be like that. The guy has to be thinking like they'll never do that again right off the bat. All of a sudden, and so there's some interesting stats on fourth quarter onside kicks. They are successful around like in that 30 to 40%. Once again, I don't have the stats right in front of me. I heard it on the radio this week, which I thought was pretty impressive. Where it's like, okay, well, if you got like almost a 40% chance of doing it, like, why not, right? To start the season off. Coach Joe, you connected back up? There he is. Are you there, Coach?
Well, here, I'll keep talking, Rob, because here's
That's
what
fair.
I think. If you get the ball at the 25, if you kick it in the end zone, and basically you just give it to them on the 50, you're only sacrificing 25 yards, which is a couple pass plays to maybe get the ball and go down the field and really change the momentum of the game before the game even started, when you think about it.
Yeah, and it's the whole football NFL right now is the whole Fangio defense, bend but don't break. So you just kind of put them in a position like, hey, just don't break here. Just don't break. And
field goal.
Yeah.
Hold them to field goal.
Absolutely.
And no, it's just important to make sure that the surprise factor doesn't get overlooked. I mean, if you can surprise a team, even like a running team that comes out throwing the ball surprises the hell out of a lot of people too. And vice versa.
Coach Pete, if you were starting an NFL team today, what strategy, or if you were the coach, how would you develop them in a sense to be successful in today's NFL?
Well, I would say try to build a defense first team, but the way the rules keep being changed, I mean, it's almost like they don't want any defense played out there. I mean, it's just a matter of time before we have flag football, and then that's not going to be any fun. So it almost has to go to the extreme wrong side to be able to go back into the right side, into the middle, basically. So I would try to build around defense still, though, Rob. But I mean, really, these receivers in college, many of them aren't the same in pros. Obviously, they're real skinny guys. A lot of times they get hit one time. The Patriots drafted a real skinny guy last year. I don't even know his name. And it was the second round pick, and he's only played a couple snaps in real games because he's hurt all the time.
Yeah, no, the Broncos are facing health issues with their wide receivers from, Judy going down with a hamstring in the preseason. Patrick went down with an Achilles this year. It's just it's a tough room to keep healthy these days for whatever reason.
Well, look at Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp for the Rams has been hurt here. So these guys, even the durable looking guys, are getting hurt. But again, Devontae Adams, he's out there every single play.
No, but he's also a thicker dude out there running. He's a big guy. Like you talk about linebackers coming over. He's like, do you want to get hit by Devontae Adams when he catches the ball running with a full head of steam?
Have you ever met a running back in person? Like not looking on the field? I mean, not a bunch of other big guys. These running backs are like linebackers. They're gigantic dudes. Their legs are bigger than my body a lot of times. Earl Campbell comes to mind. And that's why their lifespan is so short in the NFL, because they're getting popped every single play. Even when they're not running, they're blocking and they're pushed around. So again, you got to have a big running back, but I think you really need big receivers too. And I think an overlooked aspect, not quite as much as it used to be, is tight end. Good tight ends can change a team. Look at Kittle on San Francisco, and look at Kelsey in Kansas City. Look at Gronkowski. Those three guys. Without those guys, the teams wouldn't win like they did. Of course, Gronkowski's retired, but Gronk was Gronk made Brady probably was responsible for 2 Super Bowl wins for Brady and the Patriots.
No, absolutely. Coach Joe, are you back there?
Yeah,
We
I
can hear
am.
you. All right, perfect.
All right,
So
so I'm gonna answer your question first. Onside kick.
Yes, onside kick, yay or nay?
I have no problem with it. What I have a problem with it is the guy who touched the ball before 10 yards. Because you've been coached all week not to touch the ball before 10 yards. Any high school football player, college football player knows you can't touch the ball within the first 10 yards. So if that play gets done right and he doesn't touch the ball, Broncos recover, it's the greatest call in the world. But because he touches the ball, now it's a bad call. Second of all, your defense has to step up and stop him. Even if you stop him for 3 there, you're still okay. But you gotta make the plays. Tight ends, Coach Pete.
Oh, you got him on a happy subject, Coach.
You got me going. You're 1,000% correct. The Broncos have basically right now, because Dulcich is always hurt, never can be on the field. They have 3 glorified offensive tackles and offensive guards playing tight end for them. And they are non-athletes when they catch the ball. So you basically you throw a ball to a statue and let the other team come tackle them. So that's a huge problem for the Broncos right now. They have no athletic ability at the tight end position. You're 1,000% correct.
It's important. The yards after catch is a very important stat too, especially with tight ends. Here, that's why the Patriots didn't re-sign Jacoby Myers, and that was a dumb mistake on their part, because that's another one of those Devontae Adams type winner type personalities. You don't get many of those guys. You don't get many chances to get those kind of guys on your team. Look at Edelman for the Patriots for the years. I mean, small guy, but I mean, and we all will admit that he had a concussion during one of those guys, the Atlanta Falcon game, but they still let him play because they didn't have those rules yet. But he would make catch after catch with probably seeing stars at the same time. You got to have that winner kind of mentality. And almost every position, if you can at least start the team with a couple winners at the key positions, then you can work around it. But again, quarterback big, like Tom Brady was another coach on the field when he played. I mean, you didn't need a coach. I mean, he was basically the coach out there. Peyton Manning, same thing. I mean, when Peyton Manning had the ball, I mean, you basically feared for your life. Same with Tom Brady. If you left them enough time, which was 10 seconds or more on the clock, they're going to go down and win the game. Yeah. But there aren't many guys like that. And so and it's not just the glorified guys you see on TV in college all the time. It's some of the lesser known people like Brady. Nobody knew who he was, basically. He was just a bench sitter on the Patriots. What about Purdy on San Francisco? What a great find they made, huh? The last pick in the Mr. Irrelevant. And now he's starting for the San Francisco 49ers, who could end up being Super Bowl champions this year.
Yeah. How crazy of a story would that be?
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
And it's incredibly possible. Speaking of long odds, Coach Pete, I like your approach when we talk about wealth growth. We're going to talk about what you do outside of talking sports, Coach, but what you do in I'd say 9 to 5, but I know you spend more than just 9 to 5 doing it, so it's not a fair statement. But we talk about we gave your number out here, the text, the VIP to 600, 700 if people want to get a hold of you, Coach, and your team. But there's a lot of worry about retirement, especially in today's, and you're America's wealth, financial, and income coach. You're the founding partner of Capital Financial. How do you help people take that worry away from retirement? Because we all talk about sports, it's fun because it takes the worry out of our head of other things.
Well, the number one thing of any kind of wealth building is to not lose money. You can't gain if you're losing. So we have to plug the holes first. Then we start filling the bucket up. And the first bucket we fill up is the core bucket. That's the bucket that's going to gain, but you can't lose. We call it a growth protection income account. So you grow your money, you protect the growth. Hey, it's great to win a lot of money in the stock market or win at Vegas, but if you go right back in and lose it the next day, what good was it? So we got to protect the gains, sort of like they did in World War I before we had all the fancy weaponry.
The trench warfare.
They'd advance, they'd dig a trench, and they protect themselves. Then they'd advance again and protect themselves. And if you're always going forward or staying the same, you're never going backward. And so it's a whole lot easier to recover from a market catastrophe when you didn't experience the catastrophe yourself, when you were at zero when the market was going down. So, and I've done this for 31 years, and I've got a lot of happy clients that are retired now, and a lot sooner than they thought because they were gaining and not losing. And so you don't have to get the big returns that your neighbors are bragging about. By the way, my brother used to go to Vegas 3 times a year. One time every 3 years, he would call me and brag about how much he won. So when you hear somebody striking it rich in the stock market, they're forgetting to tell you all the failures they had. So, and I'm a money manager too. So after we get the core built, where we've got the safe money and our income for life already established, then we take the leftover money and we put it at more risk than you ever imagined, because who cares if you lose that money? You still have your income and your core already there, but you could take more risk and not. Here's where people lose a lot of money. When they've taken a lot of risk, they lose the money and they have to liquidate that money to pay the bills. And so even if the market recovers, the money's not there anymore. So if we can always make sure our money is still there when the market recovers, it makes it a whole lot easier to take that risk. So that's what we do, Mark. There's no magic, Rob. We're not bragging about returns. All I will brag about is no one's lost any money using our safe strategies.
No, absolutely. If you want to get a hold of Coach Pete and his team, text VIP to 600-700. Yes, it's only 6 digits, but it's like the opposite of inflation. Coach took numbers off the phone number to help people out.
Hey, anybody who texts Rob will be on the list to get my new book that's coming out probably in December or January. It's called The Book on Retirement. It's going to be over 200 pages. All simple strategies to put you ahead of the curve.
Absolutely. Love that. So yeah,
Awesome.
text VIP to 600-700. Also, you have retirementhelpcenter.com. If people want free retirement information, just go to retirementhelpcenter.com and get your own free information. Coach, either one of you guys, Coach White, are you guys boxing fans? Or either of you guys watch MMA?
Not too much. No, watching that is kind of scares me a little bit. I'm waiting for someone to die right there in the ring.
Coach Pete, do you watch MMA or boxing at all?
Well, one of my hobbies to be a producer in Hollywood, and I've produced some movies. One is the Rudy, the Walk On. If you've ever seen Rudy, the 25-year anniversary, we walked to Notre Dame with Rudy and made a movie about that. Won a couple Emmys. That's on Amazon. You can still watch that. I'm also in a movie with Dick Vitale, the one that just played on Disney. We won some Emmys. We're going to win some Emmys on that. Hadn't gone up yet. But our brand new movie is called Hero. And one of the 4 heroes we feature is Dominique Cruz, who's former bantamweight champion in the UFC. Really nice guy. Cool. Really tough guy. Really small guy, but a small guy with a big punch. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say anything bad to him. He makes me feel big around him. He's only like 140 pounds. But I know he still whooped me in my 210 pounds. So, Rob, I used to live right across the street from the UFC headquarters here in Vegas as well. What are you going to say about UFC?
Well, so I want to make the comparison to like a boxer and Russell Wilson, because I think there's a lot of similarities going on with Russell Wilson as a boxer, because he's an aging quarterback. And what's the last thing to go with a fighter is he loses a step. He's maybe not as, quick as he was, but he usually keeps his power. That's usually the last thing to go. Is like if your gloves drop, the older experienced fighter can still knock you out with a blow. And that's where I think Russell Wilson is these days, where he's lost a step. He's not as quick. He may be smarter and all the other intangibles that, like the Peyton Manning intangibles as you get older as a player. And he still has the deep ball. Like, was it in 2022, he took 75 shots over 20 yards. He can still throw the ball deep.
Yeah.
But he's not, it's these intermediate, like he kind of proved it this last week, but that's what the defense gave him. So my question for you guys is like, is it a fair comparison? Like, it's kind of like an aging boxer at one, because even Tom Brady's deep ball got better as he got older. His arm got stronger. He knew how to throw it better. Just the experience. And like how many times did he rifle it down to Randy Moss? And then when, Godwin and other guys in Tampa Bay, his arm got better.
That was that avocado diet he's on. Hey, question about Russell. Has he ever recovered from the interception he threw in the Super Bowl?
That's a good question.
That's a very good question.
Because I think that pride is another thing people lose, Rob. That might be the last thing somebody loses, pride. I mean, if you get knocked down. But, I don't think he's ever recovered from that.
I will tell you this, Rob, that the play he made the other day gave me some hope. He broke out of the pocket. He went to his right. And on the run to his right, he threw a strike in the end zone to a receiver coming across the end zone. And that was about a 20-yard pass on the run to a receiver that's running this way. So that, to me, that was phenomenal. That was Russell Wilson of old. And I think he just needs to trust it. That was a hell of a play, man. That throw he made right there was nuts. That showed you the kind of talent that he still has. It's still there, but I think maybe what Coach Pete is saying too is that had such an impact on him, that Super Bowl interception, that he doesn't want to make mistakes anymore. You can't play. You can never play well playing not to make mistakes. So
No.
that's a really good point.
Absolutely. Speaking of trust, I just want to say I still trust Sean Payton. I think Sean Payton's got an interesting approach here, which I think people forget, especially like in organizations. He's doing more than just like coaching the players. He's building an organization, and he's like, my background's in sales. Coach Pete, you're in sales. Coach White's in sales, and so like I think what we forget is like we need closers, and Sean Payton is not afraid of failing. And I think so many times we have guys that are like you guys just talked about it. With Russell Wilson, are they afraid of failing instead of chasing winning or chasing success? It's like the sales guys who's afraid to ask for the business because they'll ruin that relationship that he just built up over time. But to ask for the business, like all of a sudden he's afraid if they say no, all that work he's gone to, it's easier just to keep it, stringing around out there. So, we need guys that are going to go get the business. And I believe Sean Payton is making it and asking, finding those guys that can go there and do the same for them, is like go out and ask for the business and be the guys that are the closers and getting the business. That's why I think it's important. Like Simon Sinek did this graph thing where he talked about, when he's working with the Navy SEALs, you got the high performers and the high trust. And obviously everybody wants the high trust and high performers. Nobody wants the low trust, low performers. But like, how do you, like, everybody can judge performance. We can judge like how many yards did he throw, his incompletions, interceptions. You can judge performance, but how do you rate the metrics on trust? And I think that's why McManus is gone, the kicker for the Broncos. He may be a high performer, but maybe there wasn't high trust. What is he doing off the field? What is he doing in the building that's, maybe rubbing people the wrong way? So now all of a sudden it's like, and I don't know, I'm just hypothetically talking about there with McManus, was like, I believe Sean Payton is getting the people he can trust, and that's why he got Lutz. It's a guy he can trust. So, Coach Pete, how far am I off on?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, I thought McManus was an awesome kicker, though, Rob.
Thank you.
As a Patriot fan, I hated to see him trot on the field if the game was on the line. So I knew we were losing. He's a great player. Where did he end up? Did he go anywhere?
Jacksonville. They signed him. He's signed within like hours to Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean that's was sort of like Patriots got rid of Nick Folk this year. He was a trustable dude. I mean, they drafted somebody new. There's got to be a time as a coach you have to make those moves, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And if they don't work, you got to be held responsible. Like the Red Sox has fired their GM today after 4 years, and as trying to make the Red Sox into Tampa Bay on a cheap budget, and that's what happens if you're on a budget. And Major League Baseball or any major sport, budgets really don't work these days.
Yeah, Coach Joe, am I off in saying that?
No,
he's looking for guys that are going to ask for the business.
No, you're right. It's the guys who can be their best when their best is needed, right? Do you see anybody on the Broncos right now that are that way? You didn't see that on their defense the other day. How many times in an NFL game, seriously, in an NFL game, do you ever see a team run out the clock with 5 minutes and 23 seconds left on the clock? It never happens. It happened to the Broncos the other day. They ran the clock out for 5 minutes and 23 seconds. We couldn't get off the field because we don't have a dude that can step up and make a play when a play is needed on that side of the ball.
Well, you really need Miller back, huh? Man, Miller was the guy.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
No doubt.
We had no pass rush.
Time at the last 5 minutes of the game was Miller.
Yeah. We have no pass rush.
Yep.
I think our defense over the last few years has been overinflated because, like, if you're the offensive coordinator going up against the Broncos, they're like, look, they're averaging 17 points a game. We get 18. We're probably good. We don't need to go throw the ball. We don't need to go score 40 points to beat them. We just need 20. So it's like, so their defense, all of a sudden we hear like, oh, look how much they hold teams to, which we all know that the Raiders left at least 3, if not upwards of 10 points on the field by just playing a more conservative game because they didn't need to get any more to win the game. Like the standings just says win or loss. It doesn't say win by how much. It doesn't matter how much they win by. Yeah. So they just want to win.
Well, like Coach Joe said, I mean, it's important to, I mean, he's been right on a lot of these things, but you got to have a winner on that team. And he knew the last 5 minutes, it's important to shut that team down in 3 downs or less because you know they're going to run the ball. I mean, it's infuriating when your team has the lead and you know the coach is going to run the ball and then punt it back and then the other team's going to go down to score a lot of times.
Right.
it's not like the Raiders were lighting it up on the passing stats. I mean, all Denver had to do is play some really solid defense on stop the run, and they would have got the ball back probably with like 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
Then you got the 2 minute warning and 3 timeouts still.
Yeah. There's been people here, Coach Pete, that say that Payton should have gone for it when we had 4th and 3. 4th and 3 from our own 32 with 5 minutes and 32 seconds left. And I say there's not a college football coach or NFL coach that would have gone for it there, because everyone kicks that ball there. You still have 3 timeouts plus a 2-minute warning.
Yeah.
You're expecting to get the ball back. You're not expecting that you're not going to get the ball back in 5 minutes and 32 seconds with 3 timeouts and a 2-minute warning. Your defense has to get you off the field.
The last time I saw a coach on national TV go for it was, I think it was the Colts and the Patriots. Patriots had it on their own 40, 4th and 1, and Belichick went for it, didn't make it. And that's all they talked about, and I still remember it. So you don't want to be that coach people remember, so you punt it, but you depend on your defense.
Right.
Stop the other team in 5 minutes left.
You're expecting to get the ball back with 5 minutes and 32 seconds. That's just bottom line.
Yeah.
Especially with 3 timeouts. I mean, they have a guy here, Coach Pete, that's a player. His name is Drew Sanders. He's a 6'5" linebacker, and he's a rookie that just lit it up in the preseason. Rob, did you see him play the other day? He wasn't even on the field. They kept saying that they're going to have all these special packages for him and rush the passer and cover the tight end and do all these things. He didn't play. He didn't even play. I'm like, he's a playmaker. Get him on the field.
Was he hurt, or was it a coach's decision?
No, he's not hurt.
You got to get his feet wet, if nothing else, especially in the first game.
That's what I always ask. Like, what do we not know that the coaches know?
Yeah, I guess
there's something going on. And here's my overall working philosophy. I think Sean Payton. It's like a lot of teams. Belichick does this really well. It's like the first 4 games of a season, especially now that you play 17 games. Since you already said like they don't play a lot of their starters much in the preseason. The first 4 games are really your unofficial preseason.
Yeah.
It's like because you're trying to build your identity and who you are. And I think if there's a time to sort of let a veteran go in there as a linebacker to go like, hey, I got this rookie back here. Because like if you put the rookie in, you're in with them. But if you let the veteran go first and you kind of go, hey, it's not working out. We're gonna go with the rookie. He's earned his spot now, or you lost your spot.
You know what I say? Here's what I say. You put the players in that are going to win the game. Right? So you have, and Rob, you know how I feel about this, but you have Randy Gregory, who they signed to a 5-year, $70 million contract. And I don't know if you noticed it, but in the last drive, he wasn't even in the game most of the time because they didn't have trust in him. But he started the game and played most of the first 3 quarters. He made 1 tackle. And when he made that tackle, he almost got a 15-yard penalty for taunting after he made 1 tackle. Okay, he did nothing on the pass rush, and I want guys in the game who are going to win.
Yeah.
So I don't care if it's preseason, not preseason. First game of the year is the first game. It's not preseason. Get the dudes in that are going to win you the game, not because you're paying them $70 million.
I think Payton is sending messages to guys. I think that's what's going on. And he's like, and he's willing to sacrifice a loss if he has.
No, you can't sacrifice a loss to send a message.
Oh, absolutely.
You can send a message by sitting his ass on the bench in the third quarter and getting him out of the game and getting the guys in who can win.
I think he's sending messages. I think he's sending messages, guys like, hey, if you guys can't do it, I got other guys that will, and I'll give you the chance to do it. And then they didn't do it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll see next game then, won't we?
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, it's a process. It's one of those you have to let him work it and figure it out. And he's got to deal with a lot of, what ingredients in the kitchen that he didn't buy.
I get that.
Oh, the old Bill Parcells line here.
Yeah, you're welcome, Coach.
Parcells.
You're welcome. Hey, Coach Pete, before we let you go, you're talking about a lot of getting like the 4th and 1s and the shorts. The Eagles, which were phenomenal at that last year, are playing the Vikings tonight. Who do you got?
Like the Eagles, I didn't think they looked that good against my Patriots this past weekend. I think that they're actually lucky to escape with a win out of Foxborough. I didn't get to see the game. I was on the NFL Red Zone every now and then they show a play or two, but I thought the Eagles were going to be a lot better, and I think they will be. So I think they're going to. I don't think Minnesota has a chance tonight.
Yeah, I think it was like last I saw was like it was a 7.5 point. They're 7.5 point favorites, which is a pretty big deal in the NFL once you're getting over a touchdown favorite.
Is this at Philadelphia?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be a big deal. That's the fans going to be all jacked up too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about
watch.
We're Coach Pete. Give me one place you would not go watch a game.
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
And I was born in Delaware, Rob, but right under there. But no, not wearing another team's jersey. Put it that way. If I was wearing a Philly jersey, I'd be fine. That's for any sport, by the way. Any sport. Philly. Nope.
Yeah.
They booed Santa Claus, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to boo Santa Claus. You got no chance coming in as opposing fan.
Oh, no, that's rough. Once again, Coach Pete, we thank you so much.
Thank you, Pete.
Text VIP 600 700. We're going to get on the list to get his new book. 600
yes.
700.
The book on retirement, Rob. The book on retirement.
The book on retirement. Text VIP to 600 700. Text VIP to 600 700. Coach Pete, thank you so much for the time.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Thanks, Coach Pete.
Coach Joe, what do you think?
I don't know. I have a lot more to say about the Bronco game and what I think they need to do moving forward. Am I
out of line thinking they're just, it's their early preseason, like
no,
it's
yeah,
week one. It's week one. Who really cares?
Not for me. It's
week one. Who really cares?
When week one starts, okay, I'll give you an analogy.
Yeah.
When Lutz missed the extra point and we go down by one, my first thought process is, I hope we don't lose this game by one. And guess what we did? We lost the game by one. If we get down to the playoffs and who knows if this will happen, but we get down to the last week in the playoffs and we miss out of the playoffs by one game because we lost the first game of the season, it has a big impact. I get the preseason is the preseason, but it all started. The money started on last Sunday. You can't be messing around. You can't be playing with things. You got to have your plan. You got to go for it, and you got to get going. You got to get after it. And I'm just frustrated, because you still only score 16. You don't throw the ball down the field. You don't have any tight ends that can make plays down the field. We had one. We traded him. You don't have a reliable kicker at this point. You don't have any kind of pass rush. And my next rant is going to be on our middle linebackers, because Vance Joseph called a pretty good game. I thought he brought some pretty interesting stunts, blitz packages and so forth. But I'm watching our middle linebackers, and they run in and they run right straight into the guard's face. And they're not trying to avoid a block. They're not trying to get out of a block. They're not trying to get through a block. They just run straight into them and take themselves out of the play. And that's not really what that's designed to do. It's designed to get to the quarterback, not just run into a guy and give up. And I saw our middle linebackers do that a lot, especially on the last play where Garoppolo scrambled out of there and got a first down. He blitzed both our middle backers on that play. And we still couldn't contain him. We still couldn't get him. And I have a problem with that. That's a lack of effort, in my opinion. And I know it's going to get addressed. I know that those coaches see the same thing. They're not stupid. They see it. So hopefully that gets addressed this week and it doesn't happen again. But we'll see. We'll see.
Here's what I've been thinking this week, especially with like the preseason and Sean Payton's whole progress. Excuse me. Is when you think of Sean Payton and his progress with the Broncos, how do you measure momentum in a team sport? Are they going in the right direction? Because I think we all had really high expectations. And then how do you measure momentum? Like, how do you measure going in the right direction?
You got to win. I mean, yeah,
there's got to be more. There's got to be more than a metric just winning. Because like, what if they went off and they, played the Cowboys and got lit up by 40 something because the Cowboys were just on their game and just a better team?
I'll answer that by saying this. I did see a lot better things. I thought our offense was efficient. I thought our offense moved the ball pretty well. They scored on 50% of their drives. They only had six of them.
6 possessions.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
And that's unheard of too. That tells you your defense isn't getting off the field.
Yep.
And so those are some good things. I saw some good things from Russell Wilson. I mentioned that pass before. That was a bullet. And you're hitting a moving target as you're moving to your right. You're hitting a moving target coming this way, right in the chest. So, I mean, those are some good things. You've got to get the ball to Mims. I don't care if he's a rookie or not. Get him the ball. He's electric. He's got some dynamic skill. Get him the ball. It's the same thing I've been saying about Jerry Jeudy for the last 4 years. Get him the ball. Get him the ball in space. You're getting the ball in space to a tight end who can't move instead of getting the ball in space to a guy like Mims who can. So that's a problem. That's a scheme thing. They got to figure that out. They got to fix that. Okay. The NFL is about getting people the ball in space so they can make plays, guys who can make plays in space. They don't have a lot of game breakers. I've been hearing that all week and all this and that. Look, they do in Mims, and they're going to have one in Jeudy when he comes back. They have 2 runners that are punishing. They have that little runner, but he didn't play, so they didn't get him the ball in space. All preseason, he was tearing it up. He doesn't play the other day. He's a guy that can get in space.
Are we really rating people on how well they did in preseason against like third stringers and guys that are selling insurance right now?
He still did it. He still did it in the NFL. Get him the ball in space. Okay. I would rather see him get the ball in space, Rob, right now than one of our glorified tackles playing tight end get the ball in space.
I think we forget there's a reason why he's like the 52nd, 53rd guy on the roster. He has shortcomings, and they don't want him exposed against top tier talent.
Get him the ball in space.
I'm not saying he can't. I want to see him get the ball in space, but I think we know more than what the coaches are seeing and what they're going up against. So, Coach, I want to get your thoughts on the game coming up against Washington. Should we be worried about Sam Howell? Should we be worried about the defensive 7 front for Washington? Is Russell Wilson's jersey going to get really dirty this weekend?
Yep.
What's going to happen? But what I want to let people know is, like, we've been talking about Bruton's Books, his golf fundraiser here coming up on the 19th. Sorry to say, if you wanted to go, you can't go. It's sold out. And
that's
sign
good.
up. So it's like they sold out. They're going to raise a lot of money for books. But if you still want to go and give money, absolutely. They'll still take your money. Brutonsbooks.com. Go there. Brutonsbooks.com. Great organization helping people to read, helping students to read, helping them get the tools and resources they need to become better readers, better leaders. So really appreciate Bruton's Books. So, Coach, we're playing the Commander. I always got to make myself say Commanders and think about it. I always forget. But are you worried about this game? Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how worried are you?
Yeah, I shouldn't. I'll say it this way: I shouldn't be worried, but I am.
I mean, early on when we did our way too early preseason picks, you're like W. I'm like, oh, Washington W. Don't even worry. Now, like, are you worried?
Yeah, I'm not saying that anymore. I think the Broncos' strength are their 2 big backs. Mm-hmm. I think their 2 big backs they're tough, man. They run hard. They get the ball up in there, and they're hard to bring down and everything else. But when you look at Washington's front 7, their front 4 are all first-round draft picks. They're all great players. How is our offensive line going to hold up against that? Are they going to give our backs a little space to get through there? And are they going to protect Wilson enough? I mean, he was one of the most pressured quarterbacks in the league again this week. And we only had a 14% pressure rate against the Raiders. Our defense did, which is unbelievably horrible. And we had one of the highest pressure rates against our quarterback in the NFL last week. So that's not a good sign. That's not that's good.
What's your prediction? Do you have any bold predictions for the game? Something that may happen inside the game inside the game?
I think what Sean Payton's going to do is he's going to do a lot of the bootleg stuff, get Russell Wilson outside the pocket, make their defensive line have to chase him instead of trying to contain him in the pocket. I think he's going to make him chase him. And I think he's going to try to do that. He's got to establish a run to do that, which is going to be hard against
strength versus strength.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a challenge against that front 7. But they have to do it. The only way they're going to be able to move the ball against them is get Russell outside the pocket.
I have a bold prediction for you, Coach.
All right.
I think against Washington, week 2, the Broncos and Russell Wilson are going to have at least 2 monster plays of up 30-plus yards.
Okay.
Throwing the ball like down the field.
To who?
Probably Mims and Sutton.
Okay.
I guess.
I
think there's a chance Judy's back. That's up in the air. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. That would be great.
I would say 2+ big plays of over 30 yards, because I think you're right. I think they're going to roll them out, and I think they're going to go. Their strength is bringing everybody down, and we're going to go over the top.
Yeah.
So we're going to see if Russell Wilson can still throw the deep ball, which that's his greatest strength. And I think it's going to be run, play action, throw it over him. And I think it's just a matter of time. It'll click this week. And I think they're going to put pressure on Sam Holland then to make plays. And I think Surtain's going to get a pick. I think Justin Simmons is going to have a great game, because they're playing against, he's a second-year quarterback, but it's his third start.
Yeah. He's inexperienced.
So I think he's an underrated quarterback. I think he could be their franchise quarterback in Washington. I think Washington's letting him go out to the Wolves. And if they comes out to be a great quarterback, great. We got a great quarterback. If he loses a bunch of games, they're going to go get Caleb Williams or Drake May next year.
Yeah.
I think they're in a great situation as a franchise in that situation. So it's like, well, either way works. So
yeah, they have some talent, and I really do think our defense should be able to take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
But they will not take care of them. I don't care if Sam Hill's only his third start or not. He's an NFL quarterback. If you do not pressure the quarterback in the NFL, you will lose.
Oh, absolutely. They got to get
blank bottom line. And it was pathetic watching that last week.
So I'll rephrase my bold prediction. Either Surtain or Simmons were going to get a pick off.
Okay. I hope so. I mean,
either one. I think it's going to be I think it's the start of the coming out party for Denver. I don't think they're still a great team. I still only have them at 7 wins this year. You're the one at 11, and I think you're shaking your head at that one now.
Yeah, I am.
I think we're going to put up points on Washington. Washington's not a great team. They got a lot of new leadership, just like the Broncos, and I think we have better new leadership. So,
hey, I'm still a big Payton fan. I'm still on his bandwagon. I still think.
I'm still going to go get my Payton jersey. I still got to go get it.
Yeah, I like Sean Payton. I still think he's going to do the right things here. I really do. We just got to find some guys that can make plays when it counts. That's the biggest thing.
Speaking of jerseys, Coach, you have your own jerseys too. Your own gear.
Oh yeah. It's you can get on Coach Joe White or just email me at coachjoewhite97@gmail.com, and I can hook you up with some. The store. You can get a hat that says Fear Regrets, or a hat that says Win the Process, or my logo, and got some shirts and sweatshirts and stuff. It's a lot of fun for me to do. It's been a lot of fun. You can get my book too. I wrote a book. It's on Amazon. You can get that. It's called The 3 Ps: Finding Your Purpose, Perspective, and Passion, and just keep helping people grow and progress on a daily basis. That's what we're trying to do. And I love doing that, and hopefully the Broncos can keep growing and progressing, or else I'm going to get very frustrated.
It's like, how's the heart rate medication going? How's the blood pressure medication?
I don't handle it well, Rob. I really don't, because
I can tell.
I don't handle it well because I look at it this way. I coached for 30 years where I had to teach 5 different classes during the day, grade papers, do all those things, go out and coach, go watch film, do all those things. And I watch these guys who that's all they do is just coach and watch film, coach and watch film, coach and watch film. That's all they have to do. And they say they don't have enough time, so they have to spend the night at the facility, and they do all this stuff. Yet I see the same things over and over. If a team throws on first down and they get a 2-yard gain on the first down throw, they're running on second down. I mean, it's so predictable.
You know why they do it? This is why. We talked about it earlier. It's the fear of failure. You'd rather fail doing it the way everybody else does.
Right.
Instead of having to answer like, hey, we're doing it a different way. We're doing it a way that we think can win. We're going to do it our way.
And how's that working?
It's the whole money ball.
How's that working for Dion?
It's working. He's doing it a completely different way.
Right.
and I don't want to. I hate comparing CU to the Broncos. I think it's
I know,
terrible and
I know.
unfair. But we're so happy for primetime. Like
Yeah.
I'm,
It's
like
awesome.
So how
But I
badly?
agree with you. I agree with you. No one wants to look bad, right? So
Yeah.
I
Well,
noticed that.
think how industries change. I know people that have started business and just shake up the industry. Like, it's been doing this way. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do it differently. And you know what? And they're driving nice cars, living in nice homes today because they shook up an industry.
Right.
And people but there's a lot of people that would rather just go, hey, I'll just keep doing it the old way because I'll know I'll make some money. I'll be okay. But nothing, not changing anything.
It's like I tell people all the time. I work with business leaders all the time. I want you to be the standard bearer in your industry. I want you to be unique. Which NFL team can you think of right now, Rob, that's unique, that's kind of different? I'll give you one that I thought.
I got two for you.
I think the Eagles are unique.
That's a good one. I'll give you that.
And where did they end up last year?
Losing to the Chiefs, which was my unique team.
Yeah, they're unique.
And then because they actually, their defense is actually quite good and underrated and under the radar with all the Mahomes. I was actually going to say my number 2 pick there would be the Lions.
Yeah,
they're unique
with their coach. Yeah.
They're doing things a little bit differently. They drafted running backs in the first round that people didn't expect.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's the right call, but they're going, hey, this is what we need. This is the best player available.
This is why we're going to do it.
Yep. So
yeah, be unique. It's you hear this term all the time, and I hate it. Cookie cutter league. And I'm like, why would you want to be the same?
Because they got to answer to people that believe in the same. So if they go, if your boss is, it's much easier to go to your boss going, hey, we use the same game plan or the same style that 80% or 90% of the league uses, and it just didn't work out because maybe we didn't have the right guys. But it's the whole Moneyball thing. It's like, are you in, or how are you going to do it? If you're going to go play the same game everybody else, nobody really complains when it doesn't work out, or it's like it's the coaches, it's the players. It's like there's a finger pointing, but it's not the plan. We have the same plan as everybody else.
Right.
So that's where things, people are, get looked at it sideways in the organizational side of things. But Coach, who do you got tonight?
I think
the Eagles, the Vikings.
I think the Eagles. The only thing that scares me a little bit about the Eagles game tonight, Minnesota loses last week at home. They're kind of a desperate team going in there. So, I look at it that way. It's like Minnesota doesn't want to start out 0-2, but I still think the Eagles will win just because they're at home.
I think the Eagles are just a better team. I think they're deep. I think Minnesota was a flash in the pan last year. I think they're good, but I think they won a lot of one-score games, and over years, the law of large numbers of that typically balances out, and they're going to lose a lot of one-score games coming up. Just the way I'm a fan of numbers and metrics and stats and how that works, and I don't think you can beat the numbers that often.
There's times going to turn around for the Broncos because they lost a lot of one-score games.
That's why I think that they're in the process. It won't be this year, but it's next year. It's a law of large numbers. Like sample sizes, when even in numbers in the season are kind of small. But if you go, hey, what about in a 2, 3, or 4 year window, the things work out for you. And
I don't know if I have the patience for that, Rob.
Well, that's actually why I asked the questions like, how do you measure momentum? People that have good momentum but may not be where their goals are at will usually get fired or can't.
Yeah, I think they're on the right track. I think
so. It's like if you keep the momentum going, it's like, and they'll hit their numbers, they'll get there. It just may not be in the way we want. Sean Payton doesn't want to do it this way, but he's like, this is the way it has to be done. It's like you can't just overhaul the roster. So that's what they're doing, and it's about building momentum and doing it the right way. So, like, in Sean Payton, I trust.
Okay, I do too. I'm not going to say anything different. I trust Sean Payton. I'm glad we have him as our coach. I read something in the paper today that said we lost to the Raiders, and we had a quarterback that we gave up 3 first-round draft picks for, 5 veteran players, 2 second-round picks, and a coach who we gave up a first-round pick for, and we still lost to the Raiders by a point. And I'm like, wow, I don't want to look at it that way because that makes it even worse.
It's a process on that stuff. And I know some people hate that term, but it's week 1. Like,
it's a process.
I'm not saying it doesn't matter week 1, but it's like, if there's a game that does it, like in a 7-game series in basketball or baseball, what's the least important game? Game 1. Game 1 is the least important game.
I don't look at it that way. I look at every game. You got to win every game.
You want to win every game, but it's
Yeah.
like it's one of those. It's also keeping life in perspective. It's like you can't say everything's important because then nothing's important.
I get it, but
So you can't have it on both ways. Coach, we got to get going here.
yeah, this has been awesome.
It's been fun here. Any parting thoughts here? I need a prediction for the score versus Washington.
Shoot, 24-17 Broncos.
24-17 Broncos.
I'm not saying that with a lot of confidence.
You're
either,
not.
man.
Oh, I'm thinking I think we're gonna get a squiggly line up front. I do. I think it's gonna be more squiggly than a 2. I think we're gonna be at that 31 range. I think it's gonna be a 31 to like I'll say 21.
They better get some turnovers in.
I think they will. I think the defenses will cause turnovers.
They better.
And I think their defense plays into our offense better than like what Sean Payton is. It's also, I believe in Sean Payton more than their coaches. I think he's going to have a great game plan. I think Russell Wilson can execute. And I have this glimmer of hope that Jerry Jeudy will be out there. This glimmer of hope. You know, you got like, you know how it is where it's like, oh, it's like stepping on the scale when you've been working out, like, ooh, am I going to hit my number?
Yeah,
it's
they
like,
need
that's kind of how I feel. I'm not confident because I had that extra piece of cake last night, but I'm like, I still may hit it. I've been working out hard.
So here's what I want you to watch. I want you to watch our edge rushers, and I want you to watch our inside backers on their stunts, on their blitzes. And we'll do a report card next week on that.
And the other thing I got to get from you, Coach, just as we wrap this up, how bad are your Rams going to lose to Prime?
It's not going to be. I don't think it's going to be close, just because of what I saw first week with CSU. And I say that I want both those teams to be really good. The CSU has a lot of Colorado kids on it, and I respect that. They need more, to be honest with you. So does CU. But man, they did not look good their first game. I just hope they get better and give us some hope. I really believe in their coach. I think Jay Norvell's a great coach, and I really do think he's going to turn it around. But, man, they got to get going quick because that was not a good showing the other night. So it could get ugly Saturday night.
Let's root for ugly. I took the over, and I get to see you. Let's go ugly.
Go.
I want ugly.
All right.
So, all right, Coach, have a great week. We'll
talk to you too, Rob.
Talk to you during the games.
All right. Yeah, we'll text back and forth and get after a little bit. And everyone have a great week.
Absolutely, Coach. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.